Okay, so that wasn't our best week, Spurs fans, but I still think there's some good things to talk about with our Spurs.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. Well, lots going on with our Spurs this week, so obviously we're going to talk about it here. I'm going to get to my version of recap, report card, plays of the week, player of the week. While I'm doing so, drop a comment down below. What you like about this week? What you didn't? Well, last week, what you didn't like? Any player in particular that stood out real well? Any player that you thought played particularly bad? Let me know. Hit the thumbs up if you like support a fellow Spurs fan, and subscribe for more Spurs content. Let's just get into it. It's time for the good, the bad, and the ugly. Starting off with the ugly. Obviously, what is surrounding our San Antonio Spurs team off the court. And I really don't feel it's necessary to do any videos right now because there's a lot that's going to be going on. We could have an investigation for weeks, for months, for years. And right now, I'm just going to focus on the team on the court. If anything big happens off the court, I'll address it in a video. If somebody gets fired, whatever. But for the time being, let the legal process play itself out. This is TSR Sports, not TSR Court. Anyway, our Spurs went 1-3, so also ugly. They beat the Wolves, 107-98. Got annihilated by the Toronto Raptors, losing by 43. Had a tough, close game against the Clippers, and then we lost to the Nuggets last night. We're now 5-5 and sitting in ninth place. So the tank for Wembayama crowd must be kind of happy with this 1-3 week and hope we continue to go this way. I'm going to keep rooting for the team to win, and we certainly have some deficiencies on the team, but we also had a just rotating lineup of players last week with a lot of injuries. We got the off the court distractions. So hopefully, moving forward, things will be better for our team. Anyway, let's talk about how the players did. First, starting off with the big man in the middle, Jakob Poeltl. I thought Jakob had kind of a mixed good and bad week. He was great at times. He was meh at times. Overall, we're going to need more out of him in the starting lineup offensively than 7 points per game. We can't just keep having two players carry the scoring load. If you look at my lineup here, since the Spurs rotation was just all over the place last week, I put our traditional starting lineup up on top. Going to need more out of Jakob. Moving up, our man, you don't mess with the Sohan. Okay, so offensively, this is kind of a rough week. This is kind of a bad week for him. 4.3 points per game and 2 rebounds. We need a lot more of that from our starting power forward. However, the good thing is he is starting, and Papa's keeping him out there. But I'm also seeing teams leave him wide open for the 3-point shot. I think we especially saw that in the Clippers game. Correct me if I'm wrong. He went 0 for 4 from beyond the arc, and they're going to leave him out there and dare him to shoot him until he can make them. That being said, he did play with an illness this week, and I'm really happy he's getting minutes and getting starters. He's starting. So even though he's having some rough spots out there, he's starting, and the only way he's going to grow is to work through these tough times. And I think there's a lot of potential there. There's a lot of good things you see with Jeremy Sohan. He's a 19-year-old rookie, so got to come to some slack a little bit. But overall, I thought, we've seen him play better. Up next, one of our bright stars, Keldon Johnson. Thought overall this was a good week for Keldon. Yes, I know he had a rough outing against the Clippers. He was chucking the ball and missed a lot of shots, but shooters got to shoot, guys, and he's going to have nights where he misses some shots. Otherwise, he was good this week, shooting 48% from the field, 42% from beyond the arc, and average 22, 5, and 5. I'll take that every week, 22, 5, and 5 from Keldon Johnson. Returning from injury, Devin Vassell, who, by the way, Spurs fans, was on a minute restriction last week. That's why he only played 25 minutes. You got to look at the long term. They don't want to risk maybe any further injury, so minutes restriction. That being said, in that minutes restriction, he looked great, shooting a ridiculous 68% from the field, and even more ridiculous 73% from beyond the arc, while dropping in 24.5 points per game in those 25 minutes. Devin was lights out in limited action last week, and I really do feel like we've got two budding stars in this lineup with Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson. Which one's going to be the better player in the long run? I don't know, but what they're doing right now is nothing short of great. They just need a little more help from the rest of the starting lineup. And speaking of the rest of the starting lineup, Trey Jones, you have the rare, good, ugly week. While I like some of the things he did offensively, pushing the pace, like the 7 assists, hitting his 3-pointers, he's actually becoming a very capable 3-point shooter. His 2-point shot has all but disappeared on him in the last week and a half, maybe last 2 weeks, where he shot only 33% from the field. we're going to need. I can't look at our projected starting lineup and see two guys scoring 20 more points per game, and the rest of the guys all averaging under 10. That is not going to win us any games. And you saw it last week. We went 1-3. In weeks like this, Spurs fans, I wanted to touch on this. Is where I kind of look back at our starting lineup and go, I feel like we're set at the 3 and 4. Kelvin Devin locked, good there. Jeremy Sohan jury's out, but I think we're going to be okay there. But then with Jakob and Trey, with the weeks they had last week, is Jakob Pearl going to go as Trey goes? If Trey's having a bad week, is that going to affect him offensively because of the big part of the pick and roll? I don't know. Yeah, obviously, if the Spurs finishes a lottery team and Victor Wembanyama is available, or if we draft number one, then I got to think the Spurs take him, and then we're hopefully locked at the number 5 for the future. But I still, as much as I like Trey Jones, I still don't know if he's the guy. And he got picked up. I didn't get to see the whole game last night, but it looked like he got picked on in the post a lot last night because of his size. You guys said this. One thing I'll close on with our starting lineup is now that the tables have turned a little bit, the Spurs are losing more than they're winning lately. You guys asked if the team, or stated the teams will eventually figure out the San Antonio Spurs and they'll start losing games. Well, I still see Devin and Kelvin producing. I can't talk today. Producing at a high rate. But if teams maybe figured out Trey Jones, he is our point guard. He is running the offense, and if teams have figured him out, obviously that's going to affect the rest of the offense to some degree. Just throwing that out there. Off the bench, Doug McDermott. It was good. It was good this week, except for last week. I keep saying this week, last week, except for the huge dud last night with 1 point and, of course, no defense versus Nuggets. Overall, Dougie gave us what I want to see him off the bench. Double-digit scoring, shot a high percentage, 43% from beyond the arc, so I'm very happy with his production overall. Josh Richardson. Guess he's our backup point guard right now. He's running the point, and him running point is ugly. He can play so much better. He might be right now in a position he's not used to, but a low shooting percentage, his assist to turnover ratio is doo-doo. He is a much better player than this, and just maybe this is not his spot, but right now the Spurs don't really have a lot of alternatives. Zach Collins, you know what? I thought he had a good week. Yeah, I'd like to see the shooting percentage a little higher, but man, he's scrappy. He started to almost pick fights with everybody last week. So, overall, I'll take 8 and 7 off the bench in 22 minutes. Speaking of taking what I can get, Keita Bates-Diop just doing his thing as a good, solid role player. And I thought overall he had a good week for us coming off the bench. And last but not least, he got 2 starts last week. Malachi Branham, limited action. He had a bad week. He was showing ability to create his own shots, but not really an ability to make any of them as he shot about 29% from the field. That being said, it is good that he's getting minutes and he got to start twice. Now, that starting position is going to be yanked away from Devin Vassell probably tomorrow night when we play the Nuggets again. But at least he's getting some minutes, and that's what I do. That's what I'm still excited about this season. The young guys are getting minutes and showing flashes. As far as the other guys on the roster, Isaiah Roby came back last night, dropped 7, 4, and 3 into Nuggets in 16 minutes. Hopefully he can contribute more to the Spurs moving forward throughout the season. Gorgie Zhang, actually got 3 games last week, 10 minutes. He did his normal Gorgie thing, gave us some points, gave us a 3-point shooting. He actually shot 44% from beyond the arc last week. But overall, he is not part of our long-term plans, being one of the few players over 30. Romeo Langford played 2 games last week. He looked good at times. And he's injured again. Blake Wesley out, probably back in about 7 weeks if his rehab goes well. We had a Chuck showing. Charles played 12 minutes against the Raptors in garbage time, gave us 9 points. Charles Bassey, 9 points, 4 rebounds. I think that's going to be his role right now, is if there's players out with injury, he's going to get garbage time. I don't see him getting a ton of minutes as of yet. Don Barlow, we had a Don Barlow signing last week. He also played against the Raptors in garbage time, gave us 10 minutes and 2 points. Whatever. He's not going to get time right now the way the roster's set. And then Jordan Poole, anyway, Jordan Hall, right? I don't know. I can't remember really him because he was out there for about 12 minutes and showed us nothing. 2 games, 20 minutes, average 12 minutes for the week. I don't really get the signing. I don't know. Anyway, let's get into my runner-up play of the week. I know this is maybe the biggest play of all time, but it's something we don't see a lot with the Spurs. Jeremy Sohan drives in the paint, dishes it off the Jakob Poeltl. Poeltl with a little jumper misses. Sohan with a huge thunder dunk of justice putback. And that's something that's been missing from this team for the last few years. Maybe Drew Eubanks, probably the player that did that the most for us. He's obviously not on the roster anymore. But I like to see that from Jeremy Sohan. Hopefully he can be a force with the offensive rebounds moving forward. And we get a lot more putbacks from him because Generally speaking, we're not going to get them from our center. But my play of the week, you may have seen this jump shot in the video I did last night about Dev Vassell. Doug McDermott takes off, dishes over to Dev Vassell. Vassell drives into the paint, stops, spins, and a very high level of difficulty degree fadeaway, in my opinion. I know that's not a shot I can make. I could probably do the moves to maybe set that shot up, but it ain't going in. I'm 100% sure of that. And I thought that was a really tough shot by Devin, so I gave him the play of the week. Please let me know if I missed something in the comments. As far as my players of the week, my runner up, we're probably going to see him on here a lot, is Kellen Johnson. He had the rough game, I know, but overall, Kellen just doing what I expect him to do, be a scorer, get to the paint, and throw down a thunder dunk of justice. He's been showing us an ability to, when he's running up the court, he sees a lane, he's going to blow by his guy and get in there and throw it down. So I'm very impressed with Kellen has been doing this year, and I think he's going to continue to grow as the season progresses, depending on the parts around him. But somebody that has grown a lot this season is my player of the week. Granted, in 2 losses, limited action, but I'm sure this is no shock, Spurs fans. How can I not pick a guy that was just lighting it up from every spot on the court and has really got me wondering when he gets back into the starting lineup tomorrow night, what is his ceiling? We saw these moves and these shots to start the season. He had that abysmal game against the Hornets to start off the NBA season. The shots are going in now. Obviously, they're not always going to go in, but man, his ability to create a shot has got me very excited. And right now, him and Keldon are really going to be the ones to have to carry the start. Hopefully, actually, not have to carry the starting lineup scoring wise. Jakob, Jeremy Trey, we're going to need more than 7-4-9 if we're going to win any games. And we got a tough schedule. We got a really tough schedule next week. 3 games: Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'll be calling all the games here on the channel. Denver Nuggets again. The Memphis Grizzlies, who we seem to always lose to, and then the Milwaukee Bucks. I try not to be negative, Spurs fans. I always try to be optimistic, but I always like to be realistic. This could very well be a week we go 0-3. And if we go 0-3, that would be 6 losses in a row. I hope that's not the case. Our young guys are playing their hearts out. Looking at that schedule, though, I think realistically, hoping for 1-2, I'd like to see him go 3-0. Very, very highly unlikely. 2-1, not probable. If we can get one win out of these 3 really good teams, I'll take it as a good week. But Spurs fans, it could be a rough outing. Those other teams are pretty stacked, unless there's an injury that happens before then, or an injury I'm forgetting. We're going to have a rough time this week. But you know what? Even if the team's losing, let's focus on the positive. And there's still a lot of positive. The way we see Kelman Johnson and Dan, I've talked about them a lot. I think this is going to be our 1-2 punch, barring an injury. And I'm very excited to see how they develop over the year. Of course, their careers moving forward. But I'm also very curious to see how Jeremy Sohan plays and continues to hopefully develop in his starting role. Trey Jones, will he prove me wrong? To say, you know what? Yeah, a little bit of rough spot there, but I can be the Spurs starting point guard in the future. And will Jakob Poeltl also proved me wrong when I kind of give him a little skepticism, if you will, about him being our guy for the future. That's all I got, Spurs fans. Let's have hopefully it's a fun week, an exciting week, and who knows, maybe either Kelman or Devin will drop 30 plus on one of those teams, or maybe both. We'll see. Anyway, that's all I got. Thank you for tuning in, and as always, go Spurs, go!